right, so we're gonna start this video out right. The 20 best places to source eBay and Amazon and Etsy and Poshmark and any online reselling inventory. We're gonna start off at everyone's favorite store. You guys know it as well as I do. It's the Goodwill Retail store. All right, this is a standard Goodwill Retail store. This is gonna be the expensive one. This is not a Goodwill Outlet, it's a Goodwill Retail store where everything is priced. Some of them are priced individually, some of them are priced by sections, categories. Let's go in and I'll show you a little bit of Goodwill Retail, number 1 on the list. Now, like most thrift stores, they do have discount tag items. Today's green, and that would be 50% off any of the green tag items, so keep an eye on that. Okay, so the reason I started with this as number 1 is it's because it's the store everyone knows, and because it is pretty much located in every town and city in America, unless you live in a really small town, or unless you live in one of the very rare areas that Goodwill is not. And so most Goodwills in the back will have a separate section from the rest of the store. It's called More Store. More Store. And this is a lot of hard goods. And so in our store, they have like a lot of brand new type merchandise here. It's kind of like the dollar store type items. And they have interesting little oddities. This is like a multi-purpose tarp, puzzles, just all kinds of things in the back of the store. Usually their mattresses and stuff will be back here. Artwork, golf clubs. So just have to get a feel for your store and see how they set it all up and how everything is laid out. Of course, there's usually a book section. Sometimes you can find some books. And then there will always be like a glass, dishes, house goods area that you can look through as well. And then the final section would be like the electronics, appliances, stereos. This is the big section. A lot of profit to be made here, but you have to test things. You have to check everything out. It's never guaranteed. They do have, in most places, outlets that you can turn things on and try to test it. You've seen some people try to test this out. Obviously, if this would have worked, it probably wouldn't be here. But all kinds of cool stuff. Obviously, one of my favorite sections, the men's clothing, where we get tons of shirts and jeans. And so that's why we put the Goodwill Retail at number 1. It is big. It's located in pretty much every city in America. It caters to every type of niche and every type of category for seller, mainly clothing, but also some hard goods, electronics, and that sort of thing. So if you haven't been in your local Goodwill, go check out the sales, find out the sale tag colors, the sale days, make a routine of coming in here. Sometimes I find stuff and sometimes I don't. Hopefully your Goodwills are priced better than mine are, but that's number 1 on our list. The Goodwill Retail store, number 1 place to get eBay and Amazon and online reselling inventory. This is the Salvation Army. This is called a family store where they take donations and they sell stuff. It is a thrift store. It is one of the most popular thrift stores in the entire country. It is all over the country, and I'm gonna show you guys what the inside of the Salvation Army looks like right now. I can't make this stuff up. How ironic is this shirt being in here? Inside Salvation Army. Hey look, it's even $3. And this is the inside of a Salvation Army. Usually they have clothing sections, women's, men's, kids, women's, shoes, all kinds of good stuff. Typically these stores will have half off sales, either colored tags or special days. Here it's every Wednesday. If it's not Wednesday, which today is Tuesday, they have 50% off certain colored tags, which is yellow today. You can probably see it right there. If I zoom up, there you go. And so these are great places to source inventory. You come in, look for the half off tags on non-days, maybe find some underpriced items, and then on half off days, come in. You can also look for coupons in your email and in your newspapers, etc. So most have hard goods sections as well. This one's a very small section, but some of them have bigger sections. So make sure you do poke your head in these sections and check them out. So most of the Salvation Armies cater to clothing sellers. Typically your average cost of goods here should be between like $1 and $3. You can pay $4 or $5 for other stuff. Man, it is bright out today. But clothing sellers do very well at Salvation Armies, especially on the half off days. Hard goods, you can find the occasional DVD, VHS player, or electronic, or something, home goods to, you know, pay up $5, $10 for to flip. So just check through everything. Again, if you're a clothes seller, try to keep your average cost of goods here between $1 and $3. I hardly ever spend more than $5 on an item here unless it's really special, a suit jacket or something Burberry or something like that, but you can do very well. So that is Salvation Army. All right, number 3 is pawn shops. Now this one happens to be Value Pawn and Jewelry. This is a corporate store. I'll show it to you guys right here. Let me back up and show you what the store actually looks like. So there you go, Value Pawn. It's not all that big, but it is a corporate pawn shop. And so corporate pawn shops are a little harder to deal with because they set their prices typically higher. A mom and pop, as we would call it, a small time pawn shop, sometimes they're more willing to negotiate, but that doesn't mean you can't get good deals at pawn shops like this. You just really have to do your research, your due diligence, make connections, make friends with the managers, do whatever you have to do to make it work at pawn shops. I'm lucky in this area, we have like hundreds and hundreds of pawn shops between 3 cities, Tampa, Orlando, and Lakeland. There's literally like 50 within 30 minutes of me, no kidding, like look it up. Google Tampa, Florida pawn shops, look what you find. Let's go inside, I'll show you what a typical pawn shop looks like, and this is gonna be number 3 on the list of top 20 places to source eBay and Amazon inventory. All right, this is inside of the pawn shop. Obviously you're not gonna get clothes here, you're gonna get electronics, TVs, tools over on the back wall there, computers, things like that. So this is a typical inside of a pawn shop. Be prepared if you've never been in one, but usually they'll be priced things like this, where after March 26th it's 150, after May 26th they'll drop the price, and so they'll slowly drop. This is typical at corporate stores. At mom and pops you won't see this too much, but they're very well known for TVs, electronics, and tools, things like cameras, stuff like that. You can get here like the electronic tools, things like that. These type of stores require a lot of research. You have to look everything up. This is about the extent of the clothing that they'll ever have. You might find some coats, some leather, some jackets, things like that, but not really anything else. All right, so a quick glance inside of a corporate pawn shop. Remember, mom and pops probably will give you better deals on merchandise. Corporate's very hard. I just took a glance through, especially lately. They used to be okay, and when I knew a lot of the managers, things would be cheaper, but even now, if they gave me deals, I don't think I could make any money. Pawn shops in this area jack their prices up, but I know a ton of people right now who are making a lot of money on pawn shop routes. They literally go around all 50 shops, they circle them 2-3 times a week, and they start getting, you know, the best 10. They write that list down, and then they visit those 10 shops once or twice a week after that, once they get the route down, and they do very well. They buy 3, 4, 5 items per store. They, you know, go to 10 stores, they buy 40, 50 items, and that's what they send to FBA. A lot of this stuff can go to Amazon, to FBA. That'll give you more room to make margin. Some of it's good for eBay. Make sure you test everything. Make sure you're double testing, double checking, check it out top to bottom, know how pawn shops work. Remember, people are pawning this stuff, selling it or getting loans on it and not coming back to get it. So just keep that in mind when you're at the pawn shop. Also, you're gonna be spending money. These are not $1, $2, $3 items. These are things you're gonna be paying $10, $20, $40, $60, $100 for items to sell it. So pawn shops do require more capital. And yes, in a lot of cases, pawn shops are in bad neighborhoods. They are in shady areas. This one happens to be in a very good part of town. It's just catering to people that are lower income for the most part. Nothing wrong with that. You can source merchandise. If you are going to pawn shops in the worst part of towns, please be careful. Most of them will take your reseller's tax certificate, so you can get it tax-free. They will almost all accept it. Take them a copy. Take it to each location, they will need a copy, so make sure you take your original, save it or scan it to your computer, and then print out like 50 copies. I used to just keep them in my glove box. I still have several in there, and that's how pawn shops work. Pawn shops 101. So that's number 3 on the list is pawn shops. Let's roll on to number 4. Okay, so number 4 place is one all of you guys and girls love. Most of you know what it is. If you don't, it's called the Goodwill Outlet. A lot of you will see it referred to as the bins or the Goodwill bins or any combination of those nicknames. It basically is a store of Goodwill, and it's where they send all of their merchandise that I guess just doesn't sell, and it gets dumped into these bins, either the blue top bins like you see on the screen, or bins like these where you have to dig through them. They look almost like the mail carts, and the store charges you by the pound. Some places it's 99 cents a pound, some places it's $1.19 or $1.49. I've seen even as high as 2 and change per pound. But for the most part, it ends up making your clothing affordable to where you're paying, anywhere from 50 cents to $1.50 a piece, which is perfect. You have to dig through these. There's no guarantees of brands. Some stuff is damaged, some is stained. They have clothing, they have hard goods. You just got to Google up your city. They're not in every city. They are in a lot of cities and a lot of states, but again, they're not as widely spread as the regular Goodwill, so you'll have to Google it up. I'll link the Goodwill Outlet locations down below with the locator. If you have Google, just go and look up Goodwill Outlet locations. It'll pop right up. So that is number 4, Goodwill Outlet, one of the cheapest, best places to buy your merchandise. It caters mainly to a lot of clothing sellers, but some of them are really good for hard goods, and some of them only have hard goods. I've seen a few that have very, very little on the clothing side. So Google it up, check it out. If it's near you, it's worth the drive, especially if it's a long drive. You can go spend the entire day and get a lot of good merchandise out of the Goodwill Outlet, Goodwill bin store. So number 4 on our list is the Goodwill Outlet location. Okay, so of course, number 5 is going to be garage and yard sales. They're everywhere. They're in every city, every town, no matter where you are. Some places are great. Some places are small. Some places have community yard sales. Whatever you have, wherever you live, you should absolutely invest some time in community and regular yard garage sales. Why? Because you can get stuff cheap. People just want to get rid of it. They want it out of their house. They price it at $1, at $0.25, at 50 cents. You'll find a wide array of clothing, shoes, electronics, accessories, video games, purses. You name it, you can find it. And you can target them on the weekends in case you have a full-time job. It gives you a great place to go while you're off work to source merchandise. Not to mention, it's local. You don't have to do a ton of driving if you live in a decent-sized area with a lot of neighborhoods. There's also an app, which is what you're looking at right now. It is the Yard Sale Treasure Map app. If you don't have it, just go into your app store, Android or iPhone, and download the treasure map. It's just look up the word yard sale. You'll find it. Trust me, it is amazing. It shows within your zip code. Whatever mile radius you select, you can zoom in and out, and you can see the yard sales that are going on. So the number 5 place, and again, these are not in any order of importance, but just a list. Number 5 on that list is yard and garage sales. All right, number 6 is one that has gotten popular on social media over the last year or so. A lot of people do it. It's called retail arbitrage. You'll see it sometimes referred to as RA. That's what it stands for. And what it means is going into retail stores, be it Walmart, be it Target, be it Ross, a Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Burlington, any of these stores, and buying merchandise that they have on sale or on clearance, sometimes just normal price, that is less than what it is worth on eBay. So for example, you would walk into a Walmart store, you'd find some Ghostbuster toys, which I was able to find last year. They were priced at Walmart's normal price of like $15. They didn't sell. They were clearanced all the way down to like $3 a piece, but they were still selling on eBay for $15. So I was able to sell them for $15, and after the fees and shipping, I was left with about $9. I had bought it for $3, so I made a $6 profit. That's called retail arbitrage. And long story short, when you go into these stores, you'll go to the clearance and sale sections first. That's typically where you'll find it. I do very well at Kohl's. And you will scan with your barcode scanner, either on the eBay app or the Amazon app or whatever you use. And you can scan these barcodes because you are in a retail setting. They will have UPCs and barcodes on them. You can get a good price, and you can figure out if it's worth selling. There are a lot of apps that will track this for you. You can go on websites and do online retail arbitrage. It's called OA, online arbitrage. All a great way to find inventory. Now, this takes a particular set of skills. It takes a lot of research. It takes a lot of learning. It takes experience, and it will take some capital because, again, you're buying retail, so you're going to be spending more money than you would at yard sales or thrift shops. But retail arbitrage can be very profitable because if you happen to go into Walmart and find an item, you can buy multiples of them. Usually they'll have multiple quantities, so it makes it quicker to list, and you can get more of one item at one time. Also, if one Walmart has that item, then you are able to travel around to multiple Walmarts. Maybe you get 5 at one, maybe you find 10 at another, maybe one only has 2, but by the end of the day, you've collected up the same item, 40, 50 of them, make one listing, quantity 40, and bang, you're done. So that's how retail arbitrage works, and retail arbitrage falls in at number 6 on our list of best places to source inventory. Any retail arbitrage store will work, from Walmart to Burlington to Target to Kohl's. All right, so number 7 on the list is going to be lumped together. It's going to be like the mom and pop thrift stores, the everyday thrift stores, the church thrift stores, the charity thrift stores, things like that. Life's Treasures is a church-sponsored thrift store. This is smaller, going to be smaller than your Goodwills and your Salvation Armies. Still going to have good deals. Some of them overpriced, some of them priced really well. But let's walk inside and let's check out what they have, and I'll show you how they're, just a bit smaller, and how sometimes they have special sales that you're going to want to get on email lists for. You're going to want to come in and ask what days the sales are, what tag colors, all that kind of good stuff to get the best deals you can. So this is a typical mom and pop thrift. Again, they target mostly clothing. There are some hard goods, knickknacks, and some books and CDs along the wall. I'm currently in the shoe section. So they typically will have a lot of sales, like $1 items, red or pink tag clothing. So then you would just search through and look for like pink tag clothing. Normally 80, but you would get this for $1. So those are the sort of things you would want to look for when you're searching through thrift shops of this nature. Again, red tag 5, this becomes $1. This is stuff that they haven't been able to move, and sometimes you can find some quality items in here. Outside, a lot of these mom and pop stores will have some merchandise kind of on special. This is usually their cheapest stuff, and this goes right along with like $1 red tag clothing. These stores are going to be much smaller than a Goodwill or a Salvation Army. They're just small church, thrift stores, maybe St. Paul, Vincent St. de Paul, or whatever that store is called. Like here's a Talbot shirt that's going to be $1. I mean, it's not bad. It's maybe sellable. So you would want to look through. Again, these are going to be a lot of clothes. So just keep an eye out for the sale prices. Get on their email list. Go around and check with them, what days they have their big sales, what months, if they're giving away stuff. Sometimes they'll do like buy one, get one free, all kinds of stuff like that. And I basically lumped these stores into one category of mom and pop, church thrift stores, charity stores, things like that nature. So all very good places to check out. Number 8 is going to be what we just talked about just a few minutes ago, and that is online arbitrage. That means going to websites like Walmart.com or Target.com when they have online specials, or when you find an item in the store that may only have quantity 1 or quantity 2 at your local store, but you want to go around to all the other online stores and find that same item and have it, shipped online to store delivery, so that you can then end up with 20 or 50 or 100 of them. A lot of people disagree with this, but online arbitrage is an amazing way to source an item. Once you find it at a price that's, profitable, then you can go home, go online, and find more of them. So let's say your local town within 30 minutes of you has 2 Walmarts. So you go to Walmart 1 and they've got a toy that's on sale for $2 or $3, and you figure out it's selling for 18 or 20. So you're like, great. So you buy a couple of them. And then you go over to the second Walmart and they've only got 1. You're like, oh, they're out of stock. So you buy that. Well, then you jump on Walmart.com and you can search by store locations at other stores and buy that item online and have it delivered to the store for you to pick up, your local store, within one day. So let's say there's a couple stores 2, 3, 4 hours from you, but you don't want to drive 2, 3, 4 hours and waste all that time. Well, you can go on, have them shipped from that store to your store, pay for them online arbitrage, and then go pick them up, and it saves you a lot of time. So that is number 8, online arbitrage. All right, we're going to move back over to one I kind of mentioned a little bit, but it's one of my favorites because I get such good deals at them, but they're hard to find. And I was actually talking to someone, and I came up with a way to find more of them. And it is church rummage sales, church thrift sales, church yard sales. A lot of churches will schedule a time during spring or fall, where they will put tables outside in the parking lots of the church, and all of their members of the church can come out and sell their stuff, and you can go and basically attend 50 yard sales all in one parking lot, because you'll have 50 people bring stuff from their houses. So it's a really great condensed way to find merchandise, and that's why I love them so much, on top of the fact that mostly the prices are really, really good at church sales. I was thinking that a really good way to find all of them would be to just go around to all of your churches in your local area, or you could just call them and save yourself the trip and ask if they have a scheduled sale coming up, and you could make a calendar based on all the churches. You know, in my area here in Florida, we have a ton of churches. There's probably 100 within 10 minutes of me. I don't know. I could call all of them. And if, you know, each church is having a sale once a year, well, that would be 100 sales broken up into 12 months, would still be 8 or 9 sales a month. That's pretty good. That's 2 a weekend. So church yard sales, church rummage sales can be a really good source of quick merchandise, a great way for a Saturday morning, and they're cheap. So take my tip. If anybody's ever done that or decides to do it, let me know how it works out for you, because I was kind of considering doing it, and I think it's a great idea. So number 9, church yard sales and rummage sales. Okay, so number 10 and 11 are going to be combined. They're eBay and Amazon underpriced items. So that means people that don't know what they have, pricing items, listing them for sale on eBay or on Amazon for less than what they're worth. Let's say that you see Donald Trump red diamond tie selling for $30 and $40 all day long. Somebody went out to the Goodwill, they picked it up for a quarter or a buck or something, they listed it for $12.99, and you jump on and buy it for $13 and turn around and put it right back up for, say, even $30. So now you've got $18 in room, you pay the fees, you pay the shipping, and you've made yourself a $10 profit because they didn't know what they had. The other thing you can do is, of course, using the eBay sniper programs, you can put in bids, maximum bids on ties. So let's say they started that same tie at 99 cents, and you put in a max bid of $14 or 15 or whatever you can pay at the maximum, and the auction goes, and you happen to be the highest bidder when the time ends. You snipe that tie, or any other item for that matter. So those are 2 ways to find eBay and Amazon underpriced items, number 10 and number 11 on our list. Okay, so next, number 12 and number 13, they're separate, but number 12 is going to be Facebook Marketplace. This is Facebook's in-program section where you can list your items for sale, and other buyers, just like any other app, can come on, search by zip code, and they will see all of the items that you have for sale. Now, obviously, you're using your Facebook app, so this is going to make it so people know exactly who you are. Hopefully you're just dealing with local people very close to you. It's safe. Always meet in public, of course, but that's how you have to do it. You have to go through a Facebook profile, but it's very, very good because tons of people use it. It's easy to share the items. If somebody sees something their mother, brother, sister might want, they can share it with them. They can tag them on it. So it's a very good thing, especially considering how many people do use Facebook every single day. Okay, so the next item, number 13, is going to be the Facebook yard sale groups. Now, it's sort of the same idea, but there are specially made groups just for selling your goods, just like you would at a yard sale, but you post the items inside the group and others can contact you to buy them. You can also advertise your garage sale with all the items that you have. So it's an amazing way to network and an amazing way to get your merchandise out there. So Facebook Marketplace and Facebook yard sale groups are next on the list. All right, moving along into number 14 and 15. They are both apps for your phone. First one we see here is LetGo. The second one you're going to see in a minute is called OfferUp. These are both amazing sites for people to list local merchandise. Again, it's searched by your local area, by your zip code and city, and you can find things just like you would on Facebook Marketplace or on Craigslist or whatnot that people have for sale with their price. You can in-app message them. You can set up and arrange to pick things up. And 2 wonderful free apps on iOS and Android. That's LetGo, and the second one you're seeing right now is OfferUp. So download both of those apps, and they will add another extra set of places for you to get merchandise. Okay, number 16 is one I get asked about all the time. It is bulk and wholesale merchandise. People want to know how to buy pallets and how to buy liquidations. Unfortunately, guys and girls, it's not so easy to do. You don't just wake up and things fall in your lap. It doesn't happen that way. If it did, we'd all be millionaires and billionaires. You have to do your research. You have to Google. We all know bulk.com and liquidation.com. We all know about those websites. There's several others you can look up. You got to get manifest. You got to figure out the conditions things are in. You got to figure out how many. You got to figure out, is this a hit or miss? Is this going to be 10% junk, 20% junk? Lots of work to do on bulk wholesale. Don't forget that you're also going to be spending more money because you have to buy 100 things, 500 things, 5,000 things, 10 pallets, 5 pallets, 1 pallet, whatever. It's more than just going to the thrift store and spending $20. Another great way to get wholesale and bulk merchandise is to find eBay, Amazon, online sellers, small-time people who are going out of business. They're getting rid of everything they have. Maybe they're moving across country. They got 300 or 400 pieces. They just want to get rid of it, and they say, give me $2 a piece, and you might score some good stuff. It may not be bad merchandise. That may not be why they went out of business or why they need to get rid of it. Sometimes it is bad merchandise. They were bad buyers, so be careful of that. But otherwise, it could be a great deal for you. So bulk and wholesale purchasing, if you can make it work, is a great way to save yourself some time on sourcing and get back to listing and making money. All right, number 17, not far off the last one that you heard me talk about. It's going out of business. Anytime a store, Macy's, Sears, Circuit City, sometimes Toys R Us. I've seen some people get 90% off Toys R Us. But for the most part, when stores go out of business, you will get a chance to buy merchandise at a discounted price. If not, you'll be able to buy their storage, their lighting, their fixtures, their furniture, possibly, their mannequins, their displays, anything like that. If you can't get good merchandise, as a reseller, you should be looking for the other things that you could use at a later date from going out of business sales. So number one, look for the cheap merchandise, 70, 80, 90% off. If not, look for the backup, the fixtures and displays and all the other things. Because typically anything not bolted to the ground, they will sell when they go out of business. And as always, check back with my YouTube channel, Rockstarflipper, right here for all of the announcements when stores do go out of business. Okay, not at the top of my list, but I see a lot of people make a lot of money doing it and find a lot of cool stuff. It's dumpster diving. It was trendy. It was big for a while. It still is. And a lot of people get anywhere from shipping materials to boxes to straight up Ulta products, everything under the sun that you can think of. GameStop, a big one that people dumpster dive. Let me give a warning here. I'm not a cop. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. But it's not legal everywhere, so do your research, check into it before you just go jumping in people's dumpsters. Make sure it's okay and you're not going to go to jail or get a fine or whatever. But it can be very profitable. Dumpster diving, number 18 on our list, and you can look up some YouTube videos about that. I have one and several other people have them. All right, next to last, number 19, flea markets and swap meets. These are where a lot of people gather. They're big in California. We have a couple here in Florida. This is where a lot of people gather to sell all of their goods every weekend. Typically, it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, there are a lot of vendors here. And by vendors, I mean people that have set prices. They have Chinese goods imported. Maybe they bought them off Alibaba. Probably not going to make a ton of money off of their merchandise unless you happen to make a relationship or find some good stuff. What you're looking for are the everyday people who back their vans up, back their trucks up, and put stuff out, and you can buy that stuff at really good prices. So they might, be going to Goodwills or Goodwill Outlets or thrift stores and buying stuff for 50 cents and $1 and $1.50 and putting them out to where somebody can buy them off them for $2 or $3, and you still might be able to get a deal. You might find somebody who decided just to go for the weekend and empty their house out of all their, their rental house or their basement and sell all their stuff. So swap meets and flea markets, there are people who make their entire living off of swap meets and flea markets. So make sure you check them out in your local area. I know they're not everywhere, but if they are, you can certainly do very well. All right, and number 20 on the list, we saved the best for last. This is where I got my reseller education. This is where I started 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Whenever I moved here to Florida, I basically was already using it. It is Craigslist.com, and I've got the appropriate picture. It is a scary place. It can be shady. There's a lot of interesting characters on Craigslist, but there's a lot of money to be made. Now, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, a lot of everyday people used it, but I think so many people had negative experiences on Craigslist that a lot of those type of people shied away from it and went to Facebook Marketplace and to OfferUp and to LetGo and all these things where there's still bad people anywhere you go on the internet, and you have to be careful. If you use Craigslist carefully and you meet in public in light time and police stations and you do all the things you're supposed to do, you will 99.99% protect yourself from any of the bad stuff that happens on Craigslist. And with that, you might be able to find some amazing deals. You can look through the listings and find stuff, make offers. You can post your own ads looking to buy things. Let's say you're a specialist in costume jewelry. You can put ads up in the jewelry section that says, I buy costume jewelry. Send me an email, send me a message with whatever you have, photos and asking price in your area, and I will get back to you. And you'll get your inbox flooded depending on what you buy. When I used to do I buy cell phones, I would get like 100 emails, calls, messages a day. It was crazy the amount of people that still use Craigslist all the way until now. It's one of the greatest websites. It's free, and even with the bad stigma, people use it, and it's one of the most amazing places to source merchandise. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a bonus, and it's storage auctions. It's the second place I got my start from. When I started using Craigslist heavily, I finally went over to start buying storage auctions. I bought them for several years. We bought dozens and dozens of storage units. We did very well on them, and if you know what you're doing, you could do well. Be very careful. Be very cautious. It's going to cost you anywhere from $50 to $500 for most storage units. You have to bid on what you see. You can't go in. You can't open boxes. You can't touch stuff. And it's a little bit of a gamble. It's a risk, but you can source some really amazing things out of storage units. I've sourced everything from video games to clothing to digital cameras to tools to TVs, you name it. I've sourced it, bought it, and sold it out of storage units. Not to mention, if you make friends with the other storage unit buyers, they all, they don't all buy the same items. Some of them don't like clothing. Some of them don't like electronics. So you'll be able to network with them and buy some of the stuff that they don't want. So our bonus, number 21, you guys are welcome. Storage auctions. I hope you guys took a list of all these things. I hope you guys enjoy the list. I know I've done some similar before, but this is updated 2018. It's a better video, and I really appreciate you guys watching. Please give this a big thumbs up if it helps you out. If you have any to add, feel free to add them down in the comment section below. I'd really appreciate you guys helping the other viewers out. And thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. I know it was a little long, and I apologize, but I'll let you guys go now. Make sure you check the description box down below for all my links, Facebook group, Amazon, eBay store. Everything you need is down there, and I'll see you guys next time.